Hello again, everybody. This is Rocket Rick J18, and today I'm going to talk to you about uh, the Who's Who in Baseball annuals for the decade of the 1950s, sometimes referred to as the golden age of baseball. Um, and beginning with 1950, which covers the 1949 season. Mel Parnell is on the front cover, a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And on the inside front cover is a picture, let's see, on the outside. Here we go. So here's the front cover. The price is still 30 cents, as it was the preceding year. And so the 1950 edition covers the 1949 season, as we mentioned. On the inside front cover is Jackie Robinson, who won the National League batting championship for 1949 and who was also the league's most valuable player. George Kell was the winner of the American League batting championship in 1949. And so Ted Williams, I believe, was the most valuable player. Let's just double check on that to be sure. We'll just take a quick look at it here. Yeah. Ted batted 343, and George Kell batted 344 for the season. So that's how the 1949 season went. Of course, we know that the Yankees defeated the Dodgers in the World Series in the 1951 annual. The cover had the Phillies pitcher Jim Constanti, who was the MVP in the 1950 season when the Whiz Kids went to the World Series, although they were swept by the Yankees for the World Series crown. Billy Goodman won the American League batting championship, and on the back cover is Stan Musial, who won the National League batting championship. And that's how things were accounted for in 1950. The 1952 Who's Who in Baseball has Stan Musial on the front cover, and it covers the 1951 season. On the inside front cover is Yogi Berra, who was the American League Player of the Year for 1951. On the back inside cover is Roy Campanella, who was the National League Player of the Year, most valuable player is what that was for the year 1951. Still nothing on the back cover. 1951, the Giants won the National League pennant on the last day of the 3-game playoffs for the National League pennant when Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world, a 3-run homer that led the Giants to victory in Game 3 and in the playoffs leading up to the World Series. Of course, the big news was 1951 was Joe DiMaggio's last year in the big leagues, and it was Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays' first year in the big leagues. Whitey Ford doesn't appear in the book because Whitey Ford was in military service in 1951 and 52, as would be Willie Mays, would be in the military service in 1952 and a good part of 1953. Mickey Mantle, because of his problem knees, which plagued him all of his career, was unable to serve in the military. So that's 1952. 1953, Hank Sauer and Bobby Shantz were the most valuable players in the National and American League. Stan Musial and Ferris Fain were the National and American League batting champions for 1952. Robin Roberts was the National League's first 28-game winner since 1935. And that's 1952. The Yankees again won the World Series, as they had the year before. In 1951, 1952, they beat the Dodgers and won their fourth consecutive World Series for that year. The 1954 annual has Al Rosen on the front cover. And on the inside front cover, Carl Furillo won the National League batting championship when he hit .344 for the season. And Mickey Vernon won the American League batting championship in 1953 when he batted .337. It's interesting to note that Al Rosen on the front cover was the most valuable player in the American League, and Roy Campanella was the most valuable player in the National League. Al Rosen led the league in home runs and RBIs, and when he batted, 336 for the season, he came within actually less than a thousandth of a point, a thousandth of a batting average point for the season. He was that close to Mickey Vernon and that close to winning the Triple Crown. Of course, in 1953, the Yankees again beat the Dodgers in the World Series, and that was their fifth consecutive World Series championship, and that set and remains the record for the most consecutive World Championships in the history of Major League Baseball. Really hasn't been threatened since. The A's won 3 in a row in 1972 through 1974, and the Yankees won 3 in a row in 1998 through 2000. But that's as close as anybody's come since. And prior to that time, only the 1936, 37, 38, and 39 Yankees can lay claim to 4 consecutive World Series championships. So it was a big deal, and so that's what happened in 1953. Apart from the fact that yours truly was born, and I picked some cards to represent my birth year, and one of the I think Peter B's contest, which I did not win, despite the fact that I really wanted that Al Kaline card. So anyway, great contest for Peter B, and big shout out to him. In 1955, Al Dark is on the cover, and on the inside front cover is Yogi Berra, who was the MVP for the American League in 1954. And on the back cover, inside cover, is Willie Mays, who was the National League Most Valuable Player in 1954. I neglected to note that in 1952, the price of Who's Who in Baseball Annual increased to 50 cents, and it remained at that through the rest of the decade of the 50s. So Al Dark, of course, was instrumental, as were many, in the Giants winning the pennant in 1954, and then going on to beat the heavily favored Cleveland Indians in the World Series. That's the year, of course, of the catch, which Willie Mays made off of Vic Wertz in the first game of the World Series. Dusty Rhodes hit a home run in that World Series, and the Giants were victorious, and that broke the streak of 5 consecutive World Series wins by the Yankees. So that's 1954. In 1955, Duke Snider is on the front cover, and he had a banner year for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and the Dodgers won their first World Series ever, beating the Yankees in 7 games. The pitching hero was Johnny Padres, and in 1955, the inside cover is dedicated to an advertisement for Sport Magazine. And on the back cover, there's an advertisement for True Detective Magazine, which, as you can see, really wasn't about much about detectives. And on the inside back cover, another advertisement for Saga Magazine, which is all about adventure, true adventure. So no pictures to speak of other than Duke Snider. Would have been nice to see a Dodger team picture or, something like that, but they kind of dropped the ball, I think, on that one. So the 1957 yearbook should be no shock to anybody. The front cover is dedicated to Mickey Mantle, who did win the Triple Crown in 1956, leading the American League in home runs, RBIs, and batting average. The inside front cover is blank, and the back front cover is also blank, but on the outside back cover is Don Newcombe. And Don Newcombe was the most valuable player in the National League and winner of the Cy Young Award with a 27-7 record. Mantle, needless to say, was the most valuable player in the American League. So that's what's going on in 1956. The Yankees came back and defeated the Dodgers in the World Series, in which Don Larson pitched a perfect game in the fifth game. The Yankees won in 7. 1957, on the front cover is Warren Spahn. And that should let you be a clue as to who won the World Series in 1957. Of course, it was the Milwaukee Braves. Mickey Mantle was most valuable player in the American League in 1957 for the second consecutive year. On the back cover, Ted Williams was the batting champion in 1957 when, at the age of, I'm thinking he was 30 years old. 38 years old. And he batted .388. An incredible achievement. Hank Aaron was the most valuable player in the National League, and he's on the inside back cover. Lou Burdette was the pitching star. He won 3 games in the 1957 World Series and led the Braves to that championship. Hank Aaron, I believe, batted .400 in that World Series. Good hitting and good pitching. The last annual for the decade of the 50s, 1959 Who's Who, commemorating the 1958 season. On the front cover is Bob Turley, who led the Yankees in the World Series, the pitching hero. I believe he won 2 games and saved a third game, and so he was the pitching star. The Yankees didn't hit particularly well, but well enough to defeat the Braves in 7 games in the rubber series, repeat of the 1958 series, with the Yankees coming out on top this time. On the inside front cover of the magazine is the National League MVP Ernie Banks. In 1958 and 1959, he won back-to-back MVPs. On the inside back cover is Jackie Jensen of the Boston Red Sox, who was the most valuable player in the American League in 1958. And on the back cover is Richie Ashburn of the Philadelphia Phillies. He won the National League batting championship in 1958. So that's the 1959 annual. Of course, the World Series featured the now Los Angeles Dodgers and the Go-Go Chicago White Sox. Sadly, for the White Sox, they didn't go to the World Series championship. They lost, I believe, in 6 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers. The first Dodger World Series championship in Los Angeles, and their second overall championship. So that's the story. A decade that was dominated by the New York Yankees, who won 8 American League pennants and 6 World Series championships. I'm sorry, six World Series in the decade of the 50s. So that's all I have for you in terms of looking at Who's Who magazines, and I have one more series of Who's Who's to cover for you. It's not the entire decade of the 60s, but it is the first 4 years. And then that's when my collection stops. I have one later uh, Who's Who that I'm going to show, just to show you, how the magazine changed almost 50 years later. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for watching. I hope if you enjoyed this that you'll subscribe to my channel and like this video. And in the meantime, this is Rocket Rick J18 wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.